Loading. Okay, five.
Welcome to Therapy RX, where we are not therapists,
And this is not therapy.
with Tiffany.
And Robbie.
Welcome to the show, everybody.
How has everybody's week been? How's your week
It's
been?
My week was pretty good, actually. I don't really have a lot of complaints. Work was very busy, which in sales is always a good thing.
Nice.
And yeah, Lily passed all of her finals and got good grades for all of her final grades. So that's awesome.
Oh, congratulations, Lily. I feel like
I
we should
know.
say who Lily is, by the way.
Oh yeah, that's my daughter. I am a divorced mom of one, and I have a 12-year-old little girl.
Stunning. She's a fucking 10. She's a dime.
She is. She is. She's a beautiful little girl.
I was talking about
But
you,
yeah, obviously.
girl. I was like a stunning single mother, divorcee.
About you were talking about who?
You,
Me?
girl, you.
Oh, thank you. See, he just is too nice to me, people.
I mean, that's just being honest, candid.
Wow. Thank you,
So,
thank
anyways,
you.
Lily, your daughter, did
So
that.
Lily, my daughter, passed all of her finals, which obviously they're doing online school, so that was a little bit more challenging this
Difficult,
year.
yeah.
Yeah, so she had to have a lot of self-discipline to get everything done. So that makes me pretty proud.
That's
So
awesome.
yeah, I had a good week. How was your week?
It was rather mundane.
Okay.
I mean, I had MLK day off, which in Miami is kind of chaotic. They ride up and down our interstate, like on what are those things? Like motorbikes, on
Okay.
ATVs, on four wheelers. They
Okay.
ride up and down the interstate on them, and then the police catch them and put them in. It's actually
That reminds me of that DMX video. Do you remember that DMX
very,
video?
yeah, it's like
When we were in
very
that
counterproductive.
very
It's
cool.
like
Yeah.
still perpetuating racism, I feel like. But I mean, so that was my week.
Week.
I
Yeah.
busy week at work, per usual. But MLK day off, which is great because Sunday brunch was a shit show.
uh, my Sunday brunch was drinking Bloody Marys. And yeah, I drank my brunch this week. So mine
Yeah.
was also a shit show.
I too drank my brunch. It was champagne though at the
Nice.
SLS, and I was like, they were like, "Oh, let's go out. Let's go back to your place and have more drinks, and then go out and have more drinks." And I was like, I am fucked up like Terry Schiavo. Like I don't
I
know
don't know who Terry Schiavo is.
that girl that was like in a vegetative state, and her husband was like, "We can't take her off the tube. We need to let her die." Do you remember that?
I don't, but I'm more or less laughing at the fact that you compared yourself to someone that was
90s.
in a vegetative state.
That was the
Oh,
90s. That was
you're
the
a funny
90s.
person, people. Yeah.
That was
Wow.
the 90s. Look at that. That's a transition there. That is a transition, girl. Anyways,
So yeah, let's
yeah.
talk about the 90s. Let's talk about the 90s. Can we talk about that for a minute? I feel like we were a big part of who we are today growing up in the 90s.
They were a
Yeah.
magical time, and there was a lot of plastic in the 90s. Like that was, the 50s like made plastic and they were like looked up to it, but the 90s like fucking amplified it, and they were like, yeah, let's really just make everything plastic and like just big and shiny and over the top. I just remember like
I remember. Do you remember
Spice
those
Girls.
blow up chairs? Those
Oh
blow
my
up
gosh,
plastic chairs?
yeah. Yes.
Yes, that's a prime example. I had a hot pink blow up chair in my bedroom. Do you remember that?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do actually.
Yeah.
I do. Because I remember thinking like your bedroom and Piop's were so cool. Because you guys I mean, women in the 90s, like women in the 90s had it like kind of lucky. So like
Right.
men in the 90s. So let's talk about like 90s fashion for just a second.
Oh gosh, I
So like
loved
women in the 90s, yeah, could get away with anything. It was
jean
like fucking
skirts, flip
flowers
flops.
on your
Yeah,
cheek,
like
like anything. Like massive, massive
bangs.
sandals
Yes, all
and
the
bangs,
platforms.
bangs. Those sandals, the
Yes,
platforms,
I
yeah, and the
lived in
short
platforms
skirts. I mean,
and
the
skirts.
fashion for women, and they had Dahlia's
Yes,
magazine,
Delia's,
Dahlia's or whatever.
Delia's. Yes,
Yes,
I
Delia's.
loved. I was so
Yeah, that
excited
was
when
like a
that would come to
huge
my
thing.
house. I'd circle everything, like I did in the Scholastics. I always was the kid that circled everything. Do you remember those Scholastic things we'd get in grade school with the books? They would
I
send them
do,
home,
I do, I
and
do,
I always circled everything in it. And my mom would always be like, "You're not getting everything."
I do.
Uh,
I do. I mean, like that was,
the
and
Delia's.
anthropologies was like the, or
Yes.
Delia's. I was gonna say Delia's is like the anthropology of the modern day.
You know what's funny
Is
though
it
is all
not?
of those fashions that like I rocked in like middle school, high school are making a comeback. Like the kids in middle school, high school are wearing them now.
I mean, parents though.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
true.
right?
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I goes
Like
full circle.
platforms. Like we did platforms. We were
I loved
platforms.
platform.
And we thought they were cool. I did
I
like platforms because they were like I have big calves, so
do you remember those
I can't
ones
wear
I used
skinny
to wear all the
jeans.
time that were so hideous? They were called floaties and they were made of that like squishy material, but they had like that patent thing over them. Do you remember? So they were like shiny.
Yes. Yes.
And it was like walking on clouds, and I loved them, and I had every color.
It was like very 60s-esque.
Yes,
It was like
yes,
it was like 60s but just better. Like more like homophobic and
much
better
less.
civil rights all around.
Right.
Like, I mean, not the best. It was still the 90s. Like, I mean, we had shows like Queer as Folk, which was like what I jerked off to at night. But, I mean, I was like a kid in high school. That was on Showtime. That was like my
I've
Cinemax, you
never
know?
seen that show, but it
Oh
makes
my
sense
gosh, girl, you are missing
that that
out.
was your
Woo.
thing.
And then like Dan Cortez, I mean,
Who
on
is Dan
MTV,
Clark?
MTV
Oh,
Sports, I
MTV,
have told
The Real
you,
World, The Road Rules,
I mean, all of that.
The Singled Out.
They literally have VJs, and those VJs were famous. Like, who cares about
Oh
hosts
my gosh.
nowadays?
Do you
I
remember when they would
know.
do like the spring breaks and stuff and like everyone would
Yes.
like flock to that? I always wanted to go to MTV spring break so bad and my mom must be like, no way in
Yes.
hell. Yeah, but I always would watch it and just be like, I want to
Like
go
Beyonce
there.
was there in
Yeah, like
Cancun.
everybody. Yeah,
Oh my gosh. That
yeah.
was the best. That was the
I
best.
loved MTV.
It was
And
It was.
TRL. Do you remember
Oh my
TRL?
gosh.
Yeah.
Carson Daly
Yes,
dated Tara
he was
Reid.
big. And remember when they had that
A
MTV
mess.
VJ competition? MTV had like a VJ
Yes,
competition.
yes,
And
yes.
that weird guy, Jesse Camp, won it.
Jesse Metcalf.
No, Jesse Camp. His name was Jesse Camp. And he was
I
really
don't even know who
tall
that is.
and thin. And he had this crazy, crazy hair.
I do remember him. I
Yes,
do. I
yes,
do.
yes. But whatever happened to him? Like he won this competition. He
I
really
don't
was
know.
never on.
I don't know. I really don't know. Like nobody. The only one that made it anywhere was Carson Daly, and he's like on the Today Show or some
Yeah.
shit. Like it's not that exciting for him. He's gained like 70 or 80 pounds since then, and
Oh,
he's not.
Carson Daly.
He rips on Al Roker now, so that's really, I don't think that's an upgrade
Al
for Carson
Roker.
Daly. Poor guy. And
Yeah.
Al Roker is so nice about it too. He like lets him rip on him, and I'm like, this is so sad to watch.
That is sad.
It really is.
Grow a
Because I mean, I
backbone.
work from home now. You
Right.
know, I work from home, and I'm like, oh,
Right.
Carson, like you're not a teenager, buddy. Like you're like 50, and you're like barely doing that great. Um,
Tell us how you
but
really feel.
I mean, just because I was a Carson Daly fan, I was. Like he did TRL.
But then he started being a bully, and we don't support bullying.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Right.
Exactly. Don't support bullying. And he kind of is now. He kind of always has been. I mean, like, if you think about it, like when Mariah Carey came on there, when she was having her breakdown, he was like, what the fuck, get this girl out of here. He was like, kind of like having a moment. Yeah, that was in the 90s. Glitter?
I don't remember that. Mariah Carey had a
Not-
meltdown?
Yes, it was right before 9/11.
Oh.
It was literally, she went to rehab like on 9/11
Wow. I did not know that.
on TRL.
Our Christmas
On
diva had a meltdown on TRL.
in 2000. Actually, that was 2000, but we're getting ahead of ourselves.
Yeah.
We still have so much to go.
Can we talk
on.
about Jenkos? We're
Oh
talking
my
about
God.
90s fashion. The pants with the big,
Yeah.
huge legs.
Those were so big. Like, what
Yes.
was the point of them?
I don't know,
Like,
but I had a few pair because I wasn't not going to do it.
I mean, you can't not go with a trend.
Right.
And Jenko was a trend.
It
and
was a big trend.
I
In
don't
Wisconsin,
understand.
anyways.
I think it was everywhere, like skater.
Yeah.
It was skater. Like it kind of came from California, and I mean,
It was like around the grunge era of this.
Yeah, like I lived in LA, and so I mean, like I understand
Right.
fads much better now, but like at the time, I
You
was
better
in the
than you
Midwest,
did when
and
you
so it
lived
was
in
like,
Wisconsin. Imagine that.
yeah, everything came from like Venice or LA.
Right.
And then it was like, oh my gosh, we got this. Or like New York. New York was not as like influential because it was like super preppy. It was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It was Gossip Girl. It was the Gossip Girl before it was.
Gossip Girl.
I mean,
Yeah.
I know infomercials in the 90s. Can we talk about infomercials?
Billy
in the 90s?
Mays. Do you remember the man who died of cocaine? The infomercial
yes.
king of
Yes.
the 90s. Billy
Yes.
Mays here. I'm going to talk to you about OxyClean.
OxyClean!
So he was screaming. And then when we all found out he would like had a cocaine problem, we're like, that makes sense. He was way too excited about OxyClean and everything else he was trying to sell.
Honestly, I buy OxyClean still to this day.
I
mean,
definitely like it, and I think of him every time I grab it off the shelf. I'm like, R.I.P. Billy Mays.
You know, there's a lot of terrible products, though.
There
Terrible.
is, yeah.
Terrible. Like, the technology was not there, but the idea was there. Technology was years ahead. I mean, I remember seeing like that commercial for Nads, like that hair removal, that wax.
The hair removal.
Stuff.
We use that.
And
Me
they
and
ate it.
sister.
They ate
Yes,
it, girl.
'cause it was natural.
They ate it.
I remember
They were
before
like,
we
"No,
went
it
to
is not."
Ozfest. Before we went to Ozfest one year, me, Piep, and her sister worked at Walgreens, which, as you know, is the capital of As Seen on TV. So she picks up this NADS kit, and we're in high school. We want to look good. So we literally wax ourselves in Piep's.
That hurt. That hurt. That hurt.
Before we went to Ozfest.
I had a Brazilian.
It was horrible.
I had a Brazilian via Nads because I was like, this would be fun. It was
That's
not
brave.
fun. It was not. It was not fun. And you have to get all of that off.
I mean, when it's
doesn't come
on
off
there,
with
yeah, it's got to
water.
come off.
Yeah.
Well, that's exciting
Yeah.
that
It
that
was
happened for
not
you.
fun. That was it was a dark memory.
Nah,
That was a very dark
yeah,
memory.
we've got.
Also, I mean, there was a lot of stupid ones though
Oh
too. I
gosh,
mean, well, first off, there was Showtime and Cinemax on at night, which was like all adult stuff, and like nobody's parents in the '90s like ever monitored their TV
no,
viewing. And then there was infomercials after that, which were like the craziest things. It was like how to make a brownie with like a Mars bar inside of it, and there was like it was like a quesadilla maker, but for like really fattening treats. Did you see that one?
it sounds vaguely
I remember
familiar.
that.
I
Honestly,
remember
I kind of
the
want
Jack
that now.
LaLanne juicer.
Oh my gosh, yeah,
I am
he
the
was
proud
huge.
owner of a Jack LaLanne
Is he still
juicer.
alive? Is he? Is he
I
still
I
alive?
doubt it. He was like 1,000 years
Oh my
old when he
god,
was
he was
selling the juicer.
everywhere. Was the Sham Wow
I know
90s?
that was definitely 2000s. And that guy
That was
beat up a hooker
2000s.
and took his money back. Remember that? Speaking of infomercial people.
Great actors. They are
Yes,
great actors.
they really are.
Honestly, this is gold.
Thanks for tuning in,
Honestly,
people.
like,
Thanks
who's
for
finding
tuning
people?
in.
Like, that's why you need a producer. Like, oh my
Yes, so
god.
just so you guys know, we are definitely not very structured, as you can tell, and we're also not very censored. So listen at your own risk. We probably should have started saying that.
Oh no, there's like a explicit thing that I just click. I just put explicit on. Honestly,
Okay, so
it's
we're here.
us.
So
I mean, we're
wait,
not being too
wait,
crazy. It's
Robbie,
not
I have
like
to ask you, do you remember the infomercial with that giant rotisserie? I swear to God, I was 10 years old.
oh my
10 years
gosh.
old and I
And
wanted
you
a
could
fucking
like cook
rotisserie for
anything. They were
Christmas
like,
because that infomercial was so convincing. It was great.
yes, yes. They were like, you can do anything with it. Like you can fucking, you can build your house of your dreams with it. Like you can. I mean, we can cook a human being here. It's like this big. You want to do
chicken.
a full pig? We can do it. We
Yes.
can do it.
Yes, that was another good infomercial.
I mean, they were crazy. And then there was like crazy, and wasn't the roasting one? Was that the dehydrated?
No, that was
one?
another really big one from our childhood. You know.
Oh, and they were like all about that. Nobody was dehydrating food in the '90s. They were eating chemicals.
I remember my
first
dad
off,
had
let me
one.
clarify that.
I convinced my dad we needed a food dehydrator. And he bought one, and all he ever made in it was beef jerky. Not that I'm complaining, but like I wanted like the fruits and stuff from the infomercial, and he would never make it.
God. I mean, everybody wanted that because they all looked
Yes,
so good.
like the
People
fruit
were
by
like,
the foot they were making. I'm like,
everything,
I want that.
everything. Like Yasmin Bleeth was coming out on these commercials, like all coked up and being like, "Yeah, I eat this every day," and it's like, no, bitch.
Celebrity
you just got arrested for
commercials
cocaine
were
possession.
big in the 90s. They're not so much anymore. Celebrity commercials were also a really big part of the 90s.
Well, because of Me Too and drug less. That's why.
Do you remember, like,
I mean-
Cindy Crawford was the Pepsi girl. Cindy Crawford was. I used to think,
Well, actually, she didn't do anything wrong. It was like everyone around her, and it's like, okay, but everyone around you is like doing heroin and cocaine, and you seem to be the only one that
functioning,
was fine.
right?
Like, what?
Little sus.
suspicious. I'm not completely sure.
Oh,
Like everyone, like Naomi had a problem. Stephanie Seymour's son just died, which is tragic because I followed him. Harry Brandt. It was really sad. He's a model too.
That's another thing that really
Who
was
else?
big in the
Yeah.
90s that's not so much these days, is just modeling in general. Like, you don't hear about the supermodels like you used to.
Yeah.
Like, they used to be really
That's because
very
there aren't. I
influential.
mean, there's like Gigi Hadid, but they're all like reality TV
Yeah.
stars. Like they're
Do you
reality
remember
TV
when
stars
Janice
and then
Dickinson,
models.
who was like the first supermodel ever, like had that like reality TV empire?
Do you know
She
when
was
I
a
lived
train
in
wreck, but I
LA,
loved watching.
I had a friend who was like a PA on that set, and she was a mess. Like she was a mess on TV, but this is also, I feel like we need to transition to, this is a great transition to the
Perfect.
2000s. This is very early 2000s. Um, so my friend was a PA on her set, and she was much more of a mess on set than she was on screen. And on screen, people are like, she is a mess. Like, do you remember that time she got in the fountain, like in a couture
Yes.
gown and like
Yes.
swam?
It was a very,
Yes.
very big moment in her
Everybody
career.
watched that
Yeah.
show.
Yeah. Agree.
Everybody, it was like
Yes.
ANTM before ANTM, which is also very 2000s. Um, just so on drugs, like so many of them. Like I can.
Very hard moment.
Like wow, she had a great dealer.
That's his first thought.
She really did. Like he had
Right.
everything. And then she went on ANTM, who I
used to love America's Next Top Model.
Honestly, I did.
I did. I mean, I got sick of it. Like 6 seasons in, I'm like, okay, this is getting to be a little.
Yeah. So I actually one of my friends in LA is like a huge makeup artist. And I went to his wedding with my other friend, who is a hairstylist, and Yut Sai, who was a judge on America's Next Top Model, was the officiator of the wedding. Which was, I was like, this is the most
Wedding
thing that I've ever done. And then I was on Grindr or Tinder when I lived in LA, and like I talked to, who is that guy? Like Jay Rodriguez or whatever, who is like kind of into us. And I shouldn't be talking.
No. So, anyways, let's just change the. So, you obviously had a very colorful early 20s, traveling the globe and being a little social butterfly.
I mean, I do.
Yeah, you're very social.
With what
you're just a very social person.
Always.
Yeah.
Always. And you were married.
I was married for almost 10 years. So that took up a very large portion of my 20s.
I'm divorced now. She's
divorced, single, living my best life.
Always ready.
Always just, having a good time. Yeah. So yeah, I've been divorced for about 6 years now. So that was a pretty traumatic experience, not gonna lie. I had probably one of the messiest divorces. I'm not gonna get into it on here, but it was very messy. So the fact that that's done and finally a thing in my past is amazing. So.
And you didn't survive. You thrived.
I did. I kind of did. I kind of just, was.
You did. You really did.
Was just ready to be a new me, and I embraced it.
You did. And I am so proud of you. And that also, yeah. Oh my gosh, you're always welcome. Like you did.
I did. It wasn't always easy.
And honestly, we all need that. We all need that. That is the kind of love and appreciation that everybody needs to show each other. Always, all the time. all the time.
Always. We always know we appreciate one another. Bobby and I have been friends.
Yeah,
We didn't even talk about that. It's been over 20 years. Like, it's been a very, very, very long time. I don't necessarily have childhood friends because we moved a lot when I was younger, like a couple different cities. So I've lost touch with like childhood friends, but like middle school friends and on. And Robbie is one of my oldest friends I've ever had. So.
And you are actually my oldest friend, too.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't talk to Michelle.
I do. Actually, I'm going to see her.
We're going into all these people's names.
No,
nobody
knows
knows who we're talking about. But
I will be going to Texas to see her for St. Patty's. So that's exciting.
Girl, you got that.
I know. I love that holiday. It's the Wisconsin in me. Any drinking holiday is pretty much my favorite.
Honestly, let me talk. Let's just go into this for a second. So I'm from Wisconsin, and then I moved to LA.
Got the fuck out of here and never looked back.
Never.
No.
Never. Well, nothing happens in Wisconsin except for St. Patrick's Day, which is a huge thing in the Midwest. And in Los Angeles, it's like a thing. There's Irish people. But in Miami, it's not a thing. So the first year I was here, like, I dyed my hair green. I was like, yeah. I was in my, like,
living your best life because you've been in all these places.
I have a picture of it, too. I should make the, like, album art for this episode.
You should. Yeah.
But,
so you're dressed up head to toe, literally head to toe, green hair and all.
And there's nobody that's Irish.
Oh my God. Did you just want to die? I would have wanted to die.
South American. People were looking at me like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy?
And you're like, I promise I'd be something in Wisconsin right now.
Like, I was like, I thought we were going out for St. Patrick's Day.
They're like, no, we're just going out.
I was like, really, like, sad.
Do they even do corned beef and cabbage there?
Ashamed.
Do they even do corned beef and cabbage? Probably not.
No, my gosh, no. They don't know what that is.
Because that's another very big part of St. Patty's is corned beef and cabbage.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, yeah. No, that doesn't happen here. No,
that is sad. I mean, maybe you should come to Texas with me.
It really is.
And see the Cowboys do it.
So I'm trying to not fly during coronavirus.
Okay, this would be my first flight, actually. And it is risky because I did have COVID, everybody. I'm a survivor, but that was back in July. So my antibodies are gone. So I'm actually able to get it again. Oh. So it is risky going, but I want to. So
and I'm going to be irresponsible. Just don't want to get it. Like I've flown 4 times, but I was in first class every time. So. I mean, it's first class. You only get free drinks.
You're like, if I get coronavirus, at least I got the Rona in first class. At least I got it the classiest way.
I wasn't trying to get in first class. And actually, I was like, why isn't the first class lounge serving food? Actually, I was kind of pissed because I was like, why are they not?
I do remember you texting you were pissed off.
Oh my God, I was so drunk and so hungry. I was like, I'm like wasted and I'm like starving and there's my dogs are like going off. There's no food in the airport at all. No food in the airport. So all the restaurants in the airport.
You don't even have like little bags of like chips and nuts and stuff. You know how they have in like the little stores.
I mean, no. Well, I think in the first class lounge they have like a little bag of food, like a boring here's a little, a little snack, and some water, and then in the actual airport, like where everybody else is, they get nothing at all, nothing, and then Like my flight got delayed in Charlotte. I
I
had to spend the
love
night
the
in Charlotte,
Charlotte
which is actually
airport.
like
It's so nice.
um Charlotte. I don't like that airport. I think it's the shittiest one. Although they have
I just like the
although
big
they have
area in the
two.
middle, like where you can like, yeah, those nice chairs.
Yeah,
And
but there's a ton of people always there. And I'm like, I remember the last time I was there, somebody was like, where is Chick? I mean, as a gay man, I've eaten at Chick-fil-A. I'm not
we
proud of
also have
it,
not touched
but
on the fact that you are a gay man. So if you are listening and
I'm sure people know. I'm
pick up
sure
on
people know.
that, he just
Sure
outed
people know.
himself.
But so as a gay man, like in Charlotte Airport, I have not eaten at their Chick-fil-A. I've only eaten at Chick-fil-A like a couple times in my life. When I thought they were kind of going progressive, it was like, maybe it's safe now. The chicken's really good. It's safe, maybe. But one of the last times I was there, somebody was like, "Oh, do you know where Chick-fil-A is?" And I'm like, honestly, I'm fucking gay. Like, why would you ask me that? Like, I'm like, I don't know. I knew where it was, but I wasn't going to tell him. I'm like, I can't do that. I'm a homosexual. Come on. I'm carrying a Louis Vuitton bag, like I'm gay. Christ. But anyways, that airport, I am not the biggest fan of that.
You're also okay. So
I do like Charlotte. I do like Charlotte because I had to stay the night there, and they do have good food. Their downtown area is super cute. Like it's cute, and like it's definitely Southern and racist, but it's got potential. It can be less racist. People in Charlotte be less racist.
North Carolina is a very racist state. My ex-mother-in-law is from North Carolina. She still talks like this, even though she's lived in Wisconsin for over 39 years. Yeah. So
oh my gosh.
Yeah, so she still talks like that. Actually, the first time I met her, my ex-husband took me to meet his parents, and she was talking to me, and her Southern accent was so thick, I could not understand what she was saying. So I was just sitting there, and I was like, smiling and just doing this. And then we left. He's like, "Oh, my mom really liked you." I was like, "Oh, that's good," because I did not understand what she was saying. So I was just like nodding and smiling. So anyways, I'm bringing her up because she's got a little bit of a racist streak in her. She's made a couple remarks, and of course, I always say something because that's who I am. Like, that's not okay. But yeah, she's from North Carolina, and it makes me think that they're probably pretty.
They honestly a lot. That's a actual huge issue, which we can tackle on another episode. Also, by the way, like let me plug this in right now because this is the best article I've ever read, like about our current state and racism. Is the first white president? It's by The Atlantic, which is this amazing article on it goes into like why Donald Trump did the things he did and why he's a white supremacist and why he tried to undo the things that Barack Obama did. And it even says actually I'll let you read the article. It's really, it was the most moving article I think I've ever read.
Can we post a link to that? So if people want to read it themselves, like listeners? Okay.
Yeah.
Robbie will post the link.
That I've ever read. And honestly, I didn't even come across it until a few days ago. It was written in 2017. And I was like, holy shit, like this is like, it makes sense. I was like, this is the best. It's the best article. Like the cadence, the words that they use are so appropriate, and it makes you see things for what they are. But Charlotte be better. Like Melania.
So
only not.
So you're not traveling. You're not traveling is what basically going full circle. You are not interested in going to Texas.
I mean, I actually thought about like buying a house in Texas once because of the lack of income tax.
They say
There's a
everyone I
huge
know that's
savings
moved to
there.
Texas has loved it. Every single person I know that's ever moved there. Like Jamie loved it. Amy Scoville. Oh, maybe I shouldn't drop last names. Anyways, she loved it. And then also Michelle loves it. So,
You know, I mean, I think that's great for them. I just have to see like if it's right for me.
yeah. No, I'm just saying I think there's potential. You probably could really like it.
My dogs are like going up. Yeah, no, I definitely have thought about it. Not my first or second choice. It's just the lack of
Yeah,
income
I know.
tax. And then the
You
fact
want to
that,
be in California. That's your place.
but I do, but I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, like, if California were somewhere else, I'm actually thinking more of Atlanta at this point. It is gay. It has my Midwest roots a little bit. It just turned blue, that state. They
Well,
film, it's like LA, but not.
it's like small scale LA.
It's like yeah, Poquito, LA. Pequeño.
Poquito.
That's it. Poquito.
Poquito. Mm. Drinking water over here.
Really?
Yes.
Are
There is
you?
vodka in the water.
I was like, I cannot be the only person drinking.
No,
Uh,
there's some Tito's.
so, fun story. We filmed an episode last week,
Oh, goodness.
but we both ended up drinking too much.
Yeah, we ran into some technical difficulties.
I don't know if it was it was
It
like
was because there was no audio on your end. So that was technical.
so I figured that all out. Honestly, like Tiffany is supposed to be like the not tech savvy one, and I'm supposed to be the tech savvy one. And I feel like I'm screwing up so much that I'm like, oh my gosh. Like
Yeah, I'm definitely not very tech savvy. What's funny about that is I work for a software company and I work in
in
the
IT
technical
too, girl.
support department. I mean, luckily I'm in sales, so when I need anything, I just say, "Hey, I need one of you guys to come look at my computer. This is what it's doing." So I've never had to I just don't have to know it.
I do. Like I
I
work
know,
in IT.
you have to.
Literally like I have IT certifications.
Right.
And I'm like, this should be easier. It's not. So there's that.
But we think we have it figured out now. So basically, now you guys are stuck with us because whether you tune in or not, we're going to be sitting here talking to each other. So
Yeah.
free entertainment.
Just
because let's be
listen.
honest, we're pretty entertaining.
Don't listen. Play it in the background maybe, just to get our views up.
Yeah, just actually, you don't have an option. You have to continue to tune in.
Yeah. We're going to be talking about new subjects every week,
Yes,
like we always do.
We do.
So the other thing is, I mean, we didn't even finish up on the 2000s here. We're jumping subjects like nobody's business.
This is what we do.
I feel like I need to Whoopi Goldberg it. Yeah.
This is what we do.
but we will be talking about different things every week.
Yes.
I mean, we might loop back around quite a few times. You know?
We might pick a topic and get completely off subject. I mean, that's also a very likely possibility.
Who knows? Who knows?
Yes. Zero structure.
Who knows?
Zero script.
But yeah.
Unscripted. Raw. Unedited.
I mean, isn't that all podcasts though?
Yeah.
I just think of like Joe Rogan.
I've definitely listened to some where I'm like, oh, that does not, like, you have that way too scripted. But my absolute favorite are just people just going with it. I tend to listen to the more vulgar ones.
Like you have to riff off each other.
Right.
Like if you don't vibe, like it's like weird. It gets weird.
Or certain
You know?
people's voices, like I just can't
I mean,
hear.
my voice is weird.
I mean, we all
Honestly,
think our own voice is weird, but I mean,
I have such a homosexual voice.
I
I, like,
remember the
literally
first
am
time
like
I
that.
heard your voice. So the first time I met Robbie, we were standing. We had this area in our high school called the Commons. It's like just like a big area. They had like a little food cart there, and it was lunchtime. And I was not the best teenager, so I always stood in line to get a Snapple before I hit the smokers trail, because that's where I spent my lunch, was at the smokers trail. Anyways, I was standing in line waiting to get my Snapple, and these guys in front of me were making fun of this kid. And they were underclassmen. I think I was a junior. No, I was a sophomore, but they were freshmen. I don't know. Anyways, I said something. I stuck up for him because they were like calling him, like a fag and stuff, like being really absolutely horrible people. And I stuck up for him, and he turned around. And he goes, "Thanks." And I was like, "Oh."
And that was.
And I was like,
I did.
He is gay. As soon as I heard his voice, and I was like, "Well, maybe he's not. I don't know."
I was. You were Tiffany was the first person I came out to.
I was.
I knew I loved it.
But we were friends for a while before
That man, that little boy is going to grow up to be a man that loves some dick.
Yes, I said that. I knew it. Actually, when he came out as bi, and I was like, "No, you're not."
Taste some dick.
You are gay. I promise. Just experience it. Do it once.
You're gonna love it.
Turn yourself out.
And I did.
Yeah,
I did.
He did.
I fucking did. I did it, and I loved it, and I never went back. Well, no,
He did. You went back a couple times.
But I mean, I was like really drunk, and
It was just like very experimental. It was fun. Hey, why not? Yeah.
It was like, let's have a threesome with two girls.
I know. Sometimes you tell me these things, I'm like, why? You don't even like girls. Why did you do that? You're like,
I think that was actually when it was like,
it was really hot, and I thought if I'm ever gonna like
definitely gay.
Yeah,
definitely gay.
Yeah, it was great.
Like that's that.
I remember kids used to come up to me all the time. And they're like, "So you're like his best friend?" Yup. He's gay. Are you like how gay? Are you sure he is gay?
Oh my god,
he is homosexual. Like, he is not interested. Like I'm telling you right now, you're wasting your time.
Yeah, like when I used to live in LA, like girls from high school used to hit on me, like on Facebook, and I'm like, this is
weird.
This is
Did you tell me someone like tried like sliding in the DMs? You told her you weren't interested, and didn't she like block you or something? And it's like,
no, she quit like liking all my stuff. And this is, keep in mind, like this is a childhood friend. Like I was friends with her in elementary school.
Very long time.
Yeah, like never anything sexual, like never anything ever, like other than friends. I've never, like even when I was not out and thought I was straight, never was I like, ooh, let me hit on her. Like it was always just nice. I was always just a friend. And then she hit on me and it got
awkward.
I mean, I was like a little, I wasn't awkward in my response. But it was awkward after that.
Yeah.
Because I was like, let me click like on your stuff. And then she didn't. I was like, oh.
You're like, okay, I'm going to pretend like this didn't happen and just keep being your friend.
So your mistake was bigger than, yeah.
Yeah.
Your mistake was bigger than that. Like you actually like really were into it. And I was like, this is a whole different area of sexuality that I'm not into.
Yeah, I feel like once you made up your mind, that was that. And then
yeah, it was like dick, and I was like, you know, this works for me.
Yeah, and you like that. It was good for you.
I love it. It works for me. It fulfills me. I fulfill as just man. I was like, this is perfect. Like, this works. It just was what worked for me.
Yeah, and it's
You gotta
not
figure
you
that
tried
out. You gotta
because you
figure
did.
that out.
Because you did.
Children.
And you're young. I mean, and this was back when like being gay was
Honestly,
not a thing.
yeah.
Like,
And sexuality. Sexuality, first off, is hard to figure out.
right.
Like, I mean, so I couldn't even imagine like what transgendered people go through. So the thing with me and like figuring out sexuality is like we're brought up in a heteronormative society, to where we're supposed to think you will be straight.
Right. You will be
As a
straight. You will get
child,
married. You will have children. Like,
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
before you have a sexual preference, like
yeah.
that is the expectation, and then you have to like you
Well,
get
there's Ken and Barbie. There's not Ken and Ken. You know what I mean? Like, they don't
yeah
have things like that for. Like, it is very
you
geared towards heterosexual
you
people.
get
Yeah.
like a sensation, which is a hard on, but you get like a feeling when you see like another guy. Actually, at first you get a sensation from seeing literally anybody nude because you're a guy, which also makes it harder because you're a guy and you get horny from everything. But then you have to like wean it out and you like figure out like, ooh, I'm more into guys.
Right.
And then you're like, I keep watching all this guy porn, but I'm like, I don't know, this could be a phase because everybody says it's a phase.
Right.
And then you're like, it's not a phase. And then you have to come out to people. I mean, really, that's how my story worked. It was like, well, this is not a phase. And then I came out to people. Really, that's what it was.
Yeah.
It was like this. I was like,
I
maybe I'm
remember being
bi.
so proud of you for coming out. I was like, I'm so proud of you. Because I
It's
just knew
difficult.
I mean, I knew way before you told me. Obviously, you were my best friend. So I knew. So it would just made me like happy for you that you didn't have to hide that anymore. And you could like talk about it.
It's really weird. It's really weird to even think about it now looking back.
Right.
It's like, I don't know. I wonder like if straight people have to go through the same thing.
No, because you don't have to talk about being straight because everyone just assumes everyone's straight.
Yeah, but is like figuring out your sexuality like that, like you're like, oh wait,
Well, of course. I mean, at some point at some point I feel like everyone like questions, you know. I mean, I definitely did at some point. Like, do I like, I mean, who knows? Like, for me, I just knew like that wasn't something I needed to, you know, that wasn't my thing. Yeah, it wasn't for me. I definitely preferred men.
I mean, there's a Kinsey scale. Like everybody's on that scale, so it's like, I mean, you never hear about straight people finding their sexuality, and I guess I would like to hear more about that because I'm gay, so I know what I know, and you never hear about like the experience that straight people have to go through to discover their sexuality.
I mean, really, I think it's just like dating people, talking to people, you know, obviously like exploring other portions of relationships, you know, like the kissing, the touching, all of that, you know. I think that definitely is how people in general, I think that's how everyone finds out their sexual, because obviously if you're doing something with somebody and it doesn't feel right, then I think, you know, it's not for you. But if it does, then obviously, you know, it's for you if you like it. So.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
Although I went back and forth a lot now. I was like,
well, that was also, it was not socially acceptable. Like at that time, it was not.
It wasn't.
It was not.
I was like, no, am I this? Am I this?
Yes.
Am I this? Am I this?
It was.
I mean, I got my dick sucked a lot. I stuck it in a lot of places, which is great. But, you know, it's like, where...
So, just to clear the air here, Bobby was the hoe. I have always been the angel,
Yes, you have.
the well-behaved one.
I mean, nobody is an angel. I'm just more outright about it.
You are
Especially sex. Like, who cares? Everybody has sex.
legit, everyone.
Literally.
We grew up in a generation where Sex in the City was big. Like, that was mine and Robbie's show.
Oh my gosh.
So
Yes.
we grew up literally in our like late teens, early 20s watching these like New York socialites have this crazy like their sexual encounters and all these different guys, and like that was our influence. It's like, so it's a miracle that we weren't bigger hoes.
I mean,
That's all I'm trying to say.
Definitely experienced myself. Definitely lived my best life.
Yes.
I mean, another episode we can get.
Yeah, I feel like this is
that's another.
not the episode. Notice my silence. I'm just over here crickets.
I know. I'm like, but yeah. It worked out.
Yeah.
And we became the great people.
Now I was just gonna say, look at how grown up and responsible we are. It's so weird.
Like, I'm in a relationship, doing my best.
Yes.
You are single, living your best.
Yes.
You
Literally.
are living your best.
I am. And I keep going back and forth. Like, there's definitely moments where I'm like, okay, it'd be so nice to like find somebody and like stop dating and, start to have a relationship again. And then I go back and forth, or like I find somebody I'm talking to and then they're like, oh, I really want a relationship. And then I'm like, do I know? Like,
yeah.
Do I really? So yeah.
I know. Like, the older you get, I feel like when I was in my 20s, I was like, I want a relationship. I need a relationship. And I remember the last time I wasn't in a relationship, I was like, I love myself. I'm like, I am awesome. Like, why was I like that for an entire
What's sad is I never was a relationship type of person. Like, you remember, like, do you remember? I was like, no, I don't want to get married. I don't want to be tied down. Like, that's not the life I want. And then I had a very, very, very persistent man. Very persistent. And I just got sick and tired of rejecting the poor guy. And I settled down and got a boyfriend. And the rest is history.
It happened.
So,
it happened.
Yeah, it does. So I've always been more like... I've always felt like I'm better as like a one-woman show, I guess. Single. A single Pringle.
And you are killing it. You are killing it. You are.
And you are killing it over there. I'm loving that hair. I'm loving it.
I'm not loving it. Our viewers on YouTube and Twitter, and also we can put this on Tiffany's Facebook too.
Yes, this will be going on Facebook. I did post a picture of our last. I posted it on Facebook. I don't think I told you that. No, I haven't talked to you. I had
you posted it?
Oh yeah, I posted it. I was like, so a thing happened last night. Actually, where's my phone? I was like, a thing happened last night. Me and my best friend of 20 plus years recorded our first podcast, and we had over 147 people saying they wanted the link.
Oh my gosh.
That's exciting.
So we're going to upload this. We're wrapping up anyways.
Yeah.
We're 54 minutes in.
It's
so
about an hour.
Wrap this one up a little bit. I love this microphone. I love our microphones.
I love our mics.
We can do the what is that thing? ASMR.
ASMR.
So we're gonna like wrap this one up. I'm gonna
Yes.
post this, and then every week we're gonna have a new episode because
Yeah.
because did we even tell everyone how this started?
No.
So let me tell you how this started. So we are in a pandemic, and you get depressed, and then you drink, and then you eat, and you're like not happy, and then like your life is going on too, and you're like dealing with all this. And I was like, you know what? We're fucked up people. We're fucked up. We're fucked up people. That's who we are. That's who we
I
are.
mean, we all are in our own little ways. So we decided to do like a weekly phone call just to talk.
Called
Yeah.
therapy.
Therapy.
We were like,
that
why
was a reminder on our phone.
Why
He set
pay some
like
calls?
a WebRx and it would pop up on my phone, a therapy with Robbie. And that was our thing. And yeah, our phone conversations were just very entertaining. We found ourselves being very entertaining, going back and forth. So
Listen to us. Too.
yeah. And then he's like, let's do a podcast. And I was like, oh my gosh, let's. 2 minutes later,
I did not say that. I did not say that. You actually said it.
Oh, yes.
Oh, I was talking about doing a podcast, and I was like, no, let's do that. That's a good idea. Let's broadcast our problems. Let's feed our problems back into the universe.
Let's let the rest of the world feel better about themselves. No, we're not that big of messes.
Welcome to our podcast.
Welcome.
So, anyways, should we sign off? We're like 56 minutes in.
Yeah, okay. So we're going to end our first episode, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Tune in next week.
Thank you.
And yeah, hopefully we'll have some good shit to talk about next week.
We always do.
All right, signing off.
Bye.
Bye.